In an article posted by Shai Davidi a few days ago, we were informed that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Jays have talked about a potential extension, but the sides didn't reach common ground. But reassuringly, Vlad stated that he would love to play out his entire career with the Jays. So that got me thinking, with Vlad's stats and sky-high ceiling, what would a possible extension look like? First off, let's take a look at Vlad's numbers to get a refresher of his time in the big leagues. He made his debut in April of 2019 with the highest expectations in the world, arguably the most anticipated prospect since Alex Rodriguez. But throughout his first 2 years, we didn't see the Vlad that we saw in the minor leagues. But there were flashes of excellence from him. In the month of August 2019, he posted a 977 OPS, and in August of 2020, he had an 888 OPS. During that time, we saw the Vladdy that we know today. It was a sign that he just needed a little more time to adapt to the big leagues. And it all came together in 2021. He was noticeably lighter and tore the league apart, finishing second in MVP voting, was the All-Star Game MVP, and a recipient of the Silver Slugger Award. He was finally here. The man that lit up the minor leagues was doing it in the bigs, leading the league in pretty much every offensive category. Then, in 2022, his stats took a dip with his OPS declining back down to 818. But offense was down throughout the entire league, and even though it seemed a bit low, his OPS plus was at a respectable 131, meaning he was 31% better than league average in OPS. Fast forward to today, and Vlad looks like a machine. He only has 3 extra base hits in 15 games to start the year, but he's picking up the baseball better than he ever has in his career, and the extra bases will follow. I mean, everything points to it. Look at his baseball savant page. He's in the high 90th percentiles for every stat you want to be in. But what catches my eye more than this is his strikeout and walk percentage. So far, he strikes out 6% of the time. To put that in perspective, he's normally around 16, and the league average is about 22. His walk percentage is also up to 10.6%, and if he can sustain that throughout the whole season, then it'll only be the second time he has an above 8.9 walk percentage. These two figures show that Vlad is picking up the baseball great early on, and not chasing as many bad pitches out of the zone. It's a mixture we saw back in 2021, so a stat line similar to his 2021 season could be in store for Vlad this year. Now that you're refreshed, let's take a look at who I think the most comparable player is to Vlad that has also secured an extension recently, and that's Rafael Devers. Here are their stats per 162 games next to each other, and they're extremely similar. Eerily similar, actually. Both support 33 home runs per 162 games, around a 280 average, and an 860 OPS. Even their defensive stats are identical, but as we saw with Vlad's Gold Glove last year, he is improving massively in that area of his game. So it's safe to say that Rafael Devers is the benchmark for Vlad extension, and he got 10 years, $313.5 million. An important thing to note here is that Devers signed this contract heading into his final year of control, meaning if we give Vlad the same time frame, then he still has this season and next to improve his numbers. And if these first 2 weeks are a sign of things to come, then stat lines similar to his 2021 campaign are incredibly likely. If that is the case, then we could see him be treated like Albert Pujols, who signed a 10-year, $240 million contract in 2011. And adjusted for inflation, that alone pushes past Devers' extension at around $330 million. But as we know, baseball salaries have skyrocketed the past few years, and if Vlad waits until his final year before free agency like Devers, then it will only continue to grow. This means that Vlad will be entering his age 26 season, so a contract of 10 to 12 years seems likely, and an AAV of roughly $40 million. Putting the total at around $400 million. A feat only Mike Trout has been able to achieve, but we should see Shohei Ohtani be the first to sign $500+ million this offseason. Also, if you want to go watch a video similar to this about a potential Shohei contract, then go check out this video, the link will be in the description. Moving on, I want to talk about whether or not this is likely for the Jays to do. After all, following the 2025 season, the Jays had the likes of Vlad, Bichette, Romano, Bassett, and others all due to be free agents, and it's incredibly unlikely that they will be able to match all of those players' demands for contracts, especially at the rate that they are performing. Something that is important to bring up is we saw the Jays let go of Teoscar and Lourdes, who were both set to be free agents after this season because they just cost too much. And to me, that sounds like they are gearing up to spend on Vlad. One statement I hear often when talking about expensive contracts with Jays players is that Rodgers has never spent this much money on anyone ever before. But I'm an optimistic guy. I'll say that while it is true, they have shown that they are willing to spend more by splurging on guys like Hyun-Jin Ryu, Jose Barrios, and George Springer, who is actually the most expensive free agent in his class. This year is also the first time that the club is over the luxury tax threshold, showing that Rodgers is willing to spend more. On top of this, the stadium is receiving massive renovations. At least to me, it seems like the club is in a great position. Rodgers is investing a lot of money in the club, fans are loving the new look of the stadium, and more players want to play here. and with their winning ways, they'll be towards the top in attendance yet again, further pushing the case that the Blue Jays are one of the biggest franchises in baseball. After all, they have the backing of an entire country. No other team can say that. Before I wrap up the video, I would just like to say that we may not see a Vlad extension for 2 more years, and depending on the success he has during this time, his value may dip or rise dramatically. It's really hard to say. But as time moves on, the likelihood of him testing free agency increases, and as we saw with the Yankees and Judge, it can be a scary road, one where not everything turns out the way you want. Take the Red Sox losing Xander Bogaerts, for example. So tell me, do you think the Jays should extend him? And if so, how much do you think he will cost the Jays? Let me know what you think in the comments and I'll respond to each one of them. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, then you'll love all of my past and future content, so you are definitely going to want to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and we are so close. So I'd just like to thank all of you for the support recently. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Alright, I'll see you all in the next video.